Okay, now we are going to talk about 6.1 in Module 3, 6.1 challenge. So what it's saying is it's going to pass in a value, it's going to pass in 6, and it wants you to output the times table for that number from 1 to 12, meaning if you pass in 6, then it should be 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, and so on until you get to 6 times 12. So that would look like this. So we got the value of n coming in. We create a for loop. Let's just say for I in range. The minimum range is going to be 1. The maximum of the range is going to be 13. And then we're going to print n times I. And that does it. That should get it for you. So this just creates the loop. So 6 times 1. And then we'll output 6, and it goes back through up until it gets to the max value here. All right, let's go to 6.2. Okay, so the goal in 6.2 is to calculate a factorial. And factorials are just expressed as a digit and then an exclamation mark. So 4 factorial will be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 6 factorial will be 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And so the way you would do that as far as coding is this here. Get this out of the way. Okay, so let's set our value to 1. And let's create a for loop. I like to use I for n. Set the range as 1, and then 1 plus whatever the range is or the input is, which we know is going to be 1. This is kind of a bad example, but I'll explain how it would also work with another value. So then we'd say total equals total times I. And then we would print the total, and that would give you an output of 1, which is 1 factorial is 1 times 1. So again, it's a bad example, but if the input was 6, it would give you this, it'd give you the correct answer. So it'd be a range of 1 up to 6 plus 1 or 7, and then it would print 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, and so on and so forth, and print that out. So that's how the factorial would work. All right, so in challenge 6.3, what they're wanting you to do is take the input that they pass in and basically square each number up through that input point. So here they're showing you, so if they passed in 3, they want you to square each digit up to 3. So 0 squared, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared. And so if the input is 5, then it'll be 0 squared, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared. So the number wouldn't be 14, it would be 55 because it's what you'd be doing is you'd be adding 4 squared, which is 16, to 5 squared, which is 25. So 16 plus 25 plus 14 is 55. Now the way that you would code that, let's go back over here, get our code cleared, and let's just create a variable, set it to 0, and then create a for loop for I in range, and let's make our range 0 up through n plus 1 as the max. And then for our loop, let's say total equals total plus I times I. And then we would just print that, print total. And so what that's doing is it's just adding, so it takes 0 plus 1 times 1, and then when it goes back through the loop, the new total is 1 squared, and then it's 2 times 2, and then the next loop is 3 times 3, and so on until you get to 5 times 5, and that's how you would write that. Let's go to 6.4. So in 6.4, they are 1 and 2. So in 6.4, they're passing in two values, x and y, which the value is going to be 3 and 5. And they want you to raise the first value to the second value by the second value, which is basically 3 raised to the fifth power. So that's going to be 3 raised to the fifth equals 243. And that's what their output shows here. So let's go over here and clear this out. And okay, so here we'll need to add, actually this should be changed to x and then y, and this is given t, s, y, s, or g, v. It's going to be the second value. Here. Okay. Then we will create a variable, set it equal to 1, and then we want to say if y is not equal to 0, if I can type, print 1. And then else, we want to create our loop here. So for I in, let's set our range is going to be 0, and then y will be the other end of the range. A colon, we'll say total equals total times x. And that creates the loop. And of course we want to print it, print total. And that is how you, there we go. Yeah, that's right. And that is how you create the code for raising the value of x